I'm Tom Layson, and this is a Northwest Now Digital Extra. Kids may be back in school for in-person learning, but full-bore COVID protocols will remain in place when it comes to social distancing, disinfection, student masking, staff vaccinations, and all the rest. Offering a remote or online option is not mandatory, so heading back to the classroom is the only choice for many families and teachers all across Western Washington. But in the Bethel School District, as luck would have it, launching a virtual academy was in the plan for years before COVID. So now, as I learned during my visit to Spanaway, COVID has given the virtual academy a boost for learners for whom remote learning is a better fit.
Welcome to the Bethel Virtual Academy, or BVA, information presentation.
This is video from the Bethel Virtual Academy, launched last year before COVID and in full operation when the pandemic hit, serving as a model for all the classes that had to quickly switch to remote learning last year and proving the concept now heading into year two.
We had a really strong showing for students that wanted to come back for year two. We had families that would reach out to other friends and families, even from outside of our own district. We have a number of students from neighboring districts that are in our academy this year. So I think that, again, as our teachers have said, this really works for a lot of kids. And they found a lot of great success with it. And so I think that collectively we can all see there's a need for this kind of a program.
Some of the 800 kids who joined the BVA did it for COVID, but now are staying. It's a good choice for those who need extra help and for those who want to zoom ahead. And even more importantly, this group says, perhaps to be a difference maker for kids who may otherwise be at risk of failing and dropping out.
I think that it gives students the ability to attend school, so to speak, to get the education that they need, but also kind of peeling away a lot of the layers that they had to navigate through when they're attending a brick and mortar school. So some students just have anxiety when it comes to being in a school with hundreds of other students, and not even in a pandemic, just in general. Some students have some difficulty navigating those social norms. The other thing too is, when you go to a brick and mortar school, especially for secondary, you're going from class to class to class. You sit down, you follow instructions from the teacher. You spend maybe 20 minutes on this task, 30 minutes on that task. But the setup that we have allows students to not only go back and revisit lessons if they need to kind of repeat information, but it also gives them a chance to work at their own pace. So if they're working on a challenging science lesson, for example, and they need to say, I need to pause for a moment. Instead of taking an hour, I think I need 90 minutes to digest this information, or I'd like to come back to it tomorrow and learn a little bit more, they're able to do that. They have that flexibility.
The BVA is high touch with lots of coaching and tutoring with scheduling flexibility, and even so, chances to build relationships with classmates and teachers, even in a remote learning environment.
I was able to provide some of that, but we'll also be having small groups, and I'll do a lunch bunch on Fridays so that the kids, with no curriculum added in, just a social time with the kids, and they get to share anything going on in their life. That's when I, meet the family pet, or they get to interact with the other kids. So they'll still get elements of that. And then also from the teacher, I think it's huge that so many of my students came in super anxious. And the first Zoom I had with one student, he glared at me the whole time and said, "I don't like you." And then the last day of school, when we turned in all of his stuff, he was crying as they rolled up in the car. And I said, "Mom, why is he crying?" And she said, "He just learned that you won't be his teacher next year." So I was able to still build those relationships with kids and have that social bond that teacher and students get to have too.
To see our full discussion about the new school year and other topics involving education, be sure to look in the Northwest Now digital section at kbtc.org. Northwest Now airs Friday nights at 7:30 right here on KBTC. And be sure to look for more digital stories like this one by following us on Facebook and Twitter at Northwest Now.